And the Disney official website describes the movie like so, and I quote, "In Wish, Asha, a sharp-witted idealist, makes a wish so powerful that it is answered by a cosmic force, a little ball of boundless energy called Star. Together, Asha and Star confront a most formidable foe, the ruler of Rosas, King Magnifico, to save her community and prove that when the will of one courageous human connects with the magic of the stars, wondrous things can happen," end quote. And of course, we present our review in two parts, non-spoiler as well as spoiler-filled, and we will give you ample warning before going into the spoiled-filled part. So that's it. So you can at least listen to the first half of our show.
Yes.
If you haven't seen the movie yet and get an idea of whether or not you want to see this movie. So let us begin with the non-spoiler part. Who would like to lead off?
Ooh, that's a good one. Who wants to start this fire?
Oh, I guess I'll go.
All right, Eli, stepping up.
Yeah, okay. Well, for one thing, I wish the animation was a little bit better. It was kind of flat. That's the one thing that stuck out to me the most. Mainly the backgrounds and stuff. But the story in itself, I think the concept was good. Like, it's a good concept and thought, but the way it pulled it off, I couldn't make it through the first half of the movie. I'm being totally honest. I wish I could have stayed awake through the first half, but I couldn't do it. The theater I was at, it was a handful of people. No one laughed. No one said, "Oh, that was good." Oh, just nothing. Like, it was just kind of flat. I dug the villain, but only towards the latter half of the movie. Like, that's pretty much my favorite parts are the latter half of the movie.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, I mean, I don't know if this makes sense, but it was like, it checked the Disney movie prerequisites, right? Like, diverse heroine, strange character, talking animals, weird sidekicks.
Yeah.
Magic.
Powerful villain. Like, it checked all those boxes, but I didn't have any Disney feels on it. That's my overall impression of it.
All 100 check boxes did it check?
Yeah, that was, I mean, it had some
The
good
Disney 100?
callbacks.
Disney 100 check boxes?
That's a good point. It had some good callbacks to it as well. That was cute.
Okay.
Cool. Well, so this is a movie that I found myself really looking forward to because, as you put it, Eli, it was more of a return to the traditional Disney story, a magical land far away, more traditional Disney villain music, etc. And I thought the concept sounded really original, and I was kind of intrigued as to what they were going to do with it. Kind of what you were saying about the animation. I heard people complaining about how the animation looked unfinished, but I kind of thought that Disney was going for a blend of the traditional hand-drawn animation of the past with the computer animation of today. So I thought it was more of a stylistic choice.
Okay.
As opposed to they just did it on the cheap or something. So stylistically, I applaud the effort. Now, does it look wonky at times? Yes, it does. Sometimes I'm watching a thing and I thought I was looking at it through the comic book filter on my iPhone camera. You know, it felt like it was just a little bit off at times. But for the most part, I don't really have a problem with that because I think I see what they were going for. However, overall, it was a disappointment to me. This is probably the first time I've ever seen a movie, let alone a Disney movie, where at one point I found myself nodding off, and that was after drinking a 2-gallon Coke Icy.
So it happened to you too?
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't fall asleep. I just felt myself going. And I don't know, man. The plot just made very little sense. The villain was so over the top and quick to flash his more menacing side that you wonder how no one, let alone his wife, spotted long ago this dude might be in need of a rubber room at the Puzzle Factory. The music was bland. Man, I missed the contributions of Lin-Manuel Miranda watching this movie.
Yeah.
And Chris Pine singing makes me pine for The Rock. He makes The Rock look like Justin Timberlake, I thought, in this one. The side characters were all uninteresting. Not one single joke that I can think of landed. Like Eli said, the theater was quiet. And there was a good amount of people in there. It wasn't a smattering. There was a good amount of people. It was just bland, colorless, tasteless, odorless, joyless mess of a movie. And I don't know, man. It's not to say that it was terrible, because it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't all that stimulating, engaging, or satisfying in any way. I mean, it doesn't stay with you. I forgot about it the minute we walked out. I had to, when I was sitting there trying to put together my thoughts for the movie, I had to try and really remember what was going on. And I can see some people maybe saying, well, look, dude, you're a 40-year-old adult. This movie wasn't made for you. But I took a 13-year-old girl and a 10-year-old girl to see this movie. And when it was over, the 10-year-old turned to my daughter, the 13-year-old, and said, I told you we should have seen Trolls 3.
Oh, oh wow.
The most fun they had in the movie was during the credits picking out the little characters, that they would show in the sparkles.
Yeah.
Right.
With the circles, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it really felt like it was going to be something special, and it fell way, way, way short of that mark.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, I think I'm going to be a little bit more positive than you guys were.
Good.
But it's good to have diversity of takes.
Yeah.
I Googled on my phone as soon as it started about the animation because I also noticed that it looked different than what I was used to. And I learned that about 80% of the animation was hand-drawn in watercolors.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
So I thought that was cool.
Yes.
It's definitely a nod back to their roots. I thought that was pretty cool. I liked the villain. I liked the main character. I liked the supporting characters. I thought all the characters were good. None of them are going to make my favorite character ever list. You know what I mean? I've got a handful of characters, Disney characters that I really love. None of them made that list today. So I mean, I can see where you're coming from there. Mm-hmm. I do think that overall, for me, the movie did a really nice job of reminding me what the mission of the company was and maybe Walt's mission a little bit.
Sure.
And I don't know that that's what you want to make a movie for. You know what I mean? I don't know that that's a great movie goal. But if that was the goal, to truly celebrate Disney's 100 as a company, and to nod back to Walt and to nod back to their roots, I thought this did a good job.
Okay.
I also am going to be a tiny bit biased. Jennifer Lee was the writer on this, and she also was the writer of Frozen. Mm-hmm. She's also from my college that I went to, the University of New Hampshire. She graduated from there. Woo-hoo. And I've watched a couple of documentaries about her, and I just think she's one of the coolest women out there, especially women in high power positions in large corporations. So awesome. I'm always going to be rooting for her.
Sure.
I'm excited to get to the spoiler part where we can talk about more of the specifics, but I would say overall, I liked it. It certainly didn't make my top 5 list. Probably didn't even make my top 10.
If you had to give it a grade 1 to 10, is this too early to do that?
Oh, we can do that, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it is too early. We will decide after. I'll just so you can give you my number. I was thinking for me, Frozen 2 is my very favorite.
Okay.
So if I'm giving Frozen 2 a 9 out of 10, this was a 6 for me.
Wow. Can I tell you something? Kevin predicted that would be your grade.
Oh, yeah.
A 6?
Yeah,
I would give it a 6.
We were all talking
it's a
before. And
6
it's
for
like,
me.
what do y'all predict the grade? Because we try not to talk about the movie before we see it, so we don't know. Although I could tell by the looks on their faces when they walked in what the grade was going to be. Yeah. So we were trying to predict it, and Kevin called it. He said that you would say a 6.
Yeah,
it was a 6 for me.
Okay.
I will say you talked about your kids there. I took my kids. And also I took Josh. So I have kind of a range of opinions in terms of a dad and a young boy. My son is almost 7 and my daughter is almost 12.
Okay.
Both my kids really liked it.
Awesome.
Again, they also said that it didn't make their top 5, but they really enjoyed it. And the first thing, or one of the first things I said in the car was, well, I didn't really love the music so much. And then I said, well, except for that, the big song, the epic song, I did like that. Mm-hmm. And I could see myself really enjoying that in a fireworks show. Mm-hmm. And so we put that song on in the car, and then we started to let the soundtrack play. And I was like, I like it better not in the movie. That's weird, right? The songs are better on the soundtrack, for me at least, than they were in the movie. In the movie, I thought some of them were cringy.
Yes. Very cringy.
But afterwards, when I was listening to them on the soundtrack, I was like, oh, this is better than I remember. I actually enjoy this. So I don't know. So there's that.
I need to go back and listen because there was one song that at first I'm like, and then it kind of grew on me a little bit, but most of them never grew on me while watching the film.
Yeah.
Same. Right. Yeah, I agree. I was with you. I was did Lin-Manuel Miranda do this? And I Googled it and he did not. And so I
Right.
was like, yeah, you can tell
Yep.
it's not that
He ain't
good.
touched it.
Yeah. No, but you could tell
Get
there
what you
was-
paid for.
Yeah, you could tell there was the people that wrote the music had strives to kind of make it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.